New military deployments, nuclear negotiations, and rising global tension. The US and Iran are heading into talks that could shape the next phase of international security. We begin with developing international news as US officials prepare for another round of high-stakes diplomatic talks with Iran over its nuclear program. Negotiators from both sides are expected to meet in Geneva tomorrow. Ahead of the discussions, Iranian representatives have been in Europe holding meetings with the International Atomic Energy Agency, signaling continued engagement on nuclear oversight issues. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the upcoming negotiations as difficult, but emphasized that diplomatic channels remain open and that the administration is prepared to pursue dialogue. At the same time, the United States has increased its military presence in the region, dispatching a second aircraft carrier group to the Middle East. Officials say the move is intended to reinforce regional security and support U.S. forces and allied partners. President Donald Trump has also made public remarks increasing pressure on Tehran, including comments suggesting that political change inside Iran could be beneficial. Statements that analysts say reflect a harder negotiating posture rather than an immediate policy shift. In regional media coverage, a former Iranian military figure, described as having past ties to government institutions, criticized U.S. strategy. He suggested that heightened military deployments could escalate tensions, reflecting concerns expressed by some voices within Iran's political sphere. During the same exchange, the former commander raised the possibility of disruptions to maritime traffic if conflict were to arise. Observers note that such statements represent individual viewpoints and not necessarily official Iranian policy. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping lane through which roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes, remains a focal point in geopolitical risk assessments. Energy analysts say any disruption there could affect global oil prices and international markets. Meanwhile, the US has been reinforcing defensive systems across regional bases and allied territories, including Israel and Gulf partner nations, citing force protection and deterrence objectives. Public demonstrations related to Iran policy also took place in several countries over the weekend, reflecting the global attention surrounding the negotiations. Despite the tensions, some policy observers argue that the coming months could represent a pivotal diplomatic window, depending on how both sides approach security guarantees, sanctions, and nuclear compliance. For now, talks are set to proceed, with outcomes uncertain. Much will depend on diplomatic progress in Geneva and how military signaling and negotiation strategy evolve in parallel. New military deployments, nuclear negotiations, and rising global tension, the US and Iran are heading into talks that could shape the next phase of international security.